Here is everything you need to know about the 9th generation of the Nissan Sentra. The Sentra has been around since 1982 and they've sold many of these, and Nissan strongly believes that the compact car segment is going to grow and continue to grow because these things are still reasonably sized and reasonably affordable, which is pretty important. Now for the new Sentra, we have new styling, new interior updates, new technology, convenience features, and today we're gonna get up close with this one here, an SR, and we also have an SL on hand. We'll take you on a tour of the exterior, the interior, and show you what the new 9th generation 2026 Sentra is going to be like. We're going to go ahead and start with this SR trim here, finished in energetic amber, which is a new color. It's a very bright orange, especially here under the studio lighting. And as the SR trim, this is the sporty leaning one. So we have the black contrast front fascia here, and the overall redesign of the front end is much more aggressive. This might sound a little bit crazy, but it's kind of the point of design language. This front end reminds me of the Nissan Hyperforce, the concept kind of future GTR looking thing, because it's like really aggressive the way angles forward that way. That's the first thing that came to mind when I saw the updated Sentra. Now they've also redesigned the V motion grille. They've digitized it, incorporating the lighting. And watch this, I've got the key fob right here. If I go ahead and unlock, you have a welcome lighting sequence, including the headlights and the DRLs right there. You have the reverse when you go ahead and lock it. So let me grab the key fob again. And if we hit lock, it's going to have a little goodbye sequence for when you lock your car and leave. Fun little animation, and now the lighting is incorporated into the shape and design of the front grille. You have the SR badge right there and the black contrast fascia. You'll see a slightly different front personality on the other trim we're looking at. This color actually is quite nice. It's a new color, and we are under studio lighting, so it's very bright, but get some metallic flake there. You also have 18-inch wheels. These are black with a little bit of contrast for the sportier look. They've also redesigned the overall shape, the roofline, to give this kind of a fastback silhouette back here, the kind of sportier roofline coming back. It's a bit more of a premium take and look. I remember like the Audi A7 coming out with that shape, and it definitely looks much more premium, but I've seen some other sedans also going to this styling here. It's not a convention, it's not like a full hatchback here, it's still a regular trunk. Let's see if we can open this, but it gives you that kind of overall roofline shape, which looks pretty cool. Black and the orange two-tone here. Taillights have also been redesigned. Let's see, is there a welcome sequence back here? Let me go ahead and unlock on the key fob. A little bit subtle right there. What happens when I lock? Should just fade out, I think. Yep, taillights just fade out right there. Well, it's kind of cool. It's the clear look when they are off. Overall, I think it's a very nice exterior redesign for the compact sedan, and it is absolutely very eye-catching in this color. Now, in terms of the powertrain, that is going to be carryover from the 2025 model year. Slight tweaks, so it's still a 2-liter inline-4, 149 horsepower, 146 pound-feet of torque. It is a CVT, the Xtronic CVT. They've retuned it just slightly for smoother, quicker response and things like that. Now, let's check out the interior and see what has changed. The orange touches continue on the interior here on the SR. You actually have this orange accent on the seats. They are zero gravity seats as standard across the entire Sentra lineup. Zero gravity seats, they're supposed to position foam in the shaping and molding to try to emulate the feeling of being in zero gravity, developed with NASA. And yes, that sounds like a lot of marketing speak, but I've done road trips in various zero gravity seat equipped Nissan vehicles, and actually they are quite comfortable, and that's welcome again in a compact segment vehicle. You have more orange stitching, and there's like this orange pattern that shows through in the perforation on the seats. Let me go ahead and move this one back a little bit, and we are going to go ahead and hop in. We have the Bose sound system here, and you'll notice the massive double display screen. So on the higher tier trims, you have the dual 12.3-inch display screens. On the entry-level trims, I believe the driver screen is going to be just a little bit smaller. Have a welcome sequence there. And this is going to be familiar from the later or more recent Nissan vehicles. You also have some ambient lighting here. USB-C ports. Upper end trims do get wireless charging available too. We have auto hold, auto stop start. You can change your different drive modes. Another big change is we have this touch panel here, this capacitive touch panel for your HVAC controls, your climate control, your temperature, your heated seats. It's drawn from the Aria and the Leaf, but this one looks like glossy black plastic, which personally I'm not as much of a fan of. Let's see, we get a little bit of feedback sound. The other ones I mentioned, like the Aria, it's got like this kind of wood textured panel. It looks a little more premium here. And this may just be a fingerprint magnet, but you've gone to this for your climate controls. Now that blue icon right there means it says Pro Pilot 1.0. That is hands-on and eyes-on. So no hands-free driving, but it will help with maintaining your speed, following distance, so adaptive cruise control. And this also has active blind spot intervention. So it's not just a warning. If it sees that you're slightly drifting on your lane, it'll help correct that. So that is an added step of safety. Now, in terms of trim, we've got some textured plastic here, more stitching across the dash there. And that looks like, yep, that's more ambient lighting on the inside, which would probably look pretty cool at night. Another look at these seats from the passenger side, and then back here, I'll hop in the second row. I'm 6'3", so let's see how spacious the rear of the Sentra is. Anything else up front? We do have a little sunroof up there, just single segment here, nothing for the back row. But that's a quick look up here at the, oh, that is actually gigantic. Okay, that is a very deep center storage area. We've got the double cup holders here. There's actually a good amount of storage. Like, I would put my phone right there. That fits nicely. You can have your beverages and then tons of storage. I know my wife would probably fill this with hair ties and scrunchies because somehow her car always has 700, and I wish that was an exaggeration. Auto hold is definitely nice when you come to a stop. The vehicle can just hold the brake for you, and you have a start-stop button down there. All right, let's see what the second row is like. Let me adjust to make sure I am comfortable. Okay, the fastback roofline means my hair is just barely brushing the headliner here, but that's okay. And I have enough room for my knees. I'm not like jammed back here. So this is a compact sedan, but I can fit in the second row. And the seats are actually pretty comfortable. They have a little bit of sculpting, like molding to them, even in the second row, so it doesn't feel like you're just sitting on a bench. Not bad. Coming back around to the trunk, the Nissan team worked on the usability. So they've actually widened this opening and actually lowered this part here, so it's easier to get stuff in. Wider means maybe if you want to transport a TV or a weird piece of furniture. So being wider means obviously it's easier to put something in, and also the height. You don't want to necessarily have to lift a TV super high up or something like that, but those are subtle convenience tweaks just to make it a bit more livable and usable. And this actually looks like a pretty decent sized trunk back here. Even the second row seats have that cool orange pattern showing through. I'll wait to see what the other trim looks like on the inside, and then you can put the seats down, so then you have even more storage space. That actually makes this thing pretty practical. Fold down the second row seats, so it's good to see that. Moving on to the SL trim of the new Sentra. This is the more premium, luxury-leaning, top-tier trim for the Sentra. Take a look at my background right here. It's a very tropical feeling. I've got bamboo right there. I hear the sound of running water in the background. Very fitting for the SL. Now we have the animation lighting. Welcome. I've got the key fob here. Let me go ahead and unlock. Same thing with the headlights and the DRL. But you're going to notice a difference in the personality of the front fascia. Whereas on the SR, it was all blacked out. This one, you have some body color along here, and then this kind of like grille integrates into the actual rest of the body color front bumper, and you have this interesting pattern that mirrors the shape of the headlights. I actually really like the look of this front end. I think maybe more than the blacked out one on the SR, but you have different options here. Now this color is called Imperial Bronze. These are two new colors for the updated Sentra, and this is really light dusky tan with a lot of metallic flake. Both of these paints have a lot of metallic flake to them. Now these are 17-inch wheels. For the SR you can have 18-inch wheels, but the SL you go to 17-inch wheels or a dark gunmetal color here. We have the body color roof instead of the black two-tone finish on the other one. And then coming around back, I like the gray treatment for the badging, really subtle here. And the monochromatic look to the taillights is pretty cool, especially on this color combination. So you see how it's all kind of grayscale there with the required red accent marking. But once you unlock it, and if you hit the brakes, it turns red. So I think it looks pretty nice back here. Now let's check out the interior. That's also going to be a big change in personality. Yeah, that's actually quite nice. This is like quilted leather looking with the stitching, and you have the blue accent here because the dashboard, the top of the doors, that's actually dark blue. Like that's really cool. The blue and white two-tone finish, the Bose sound system. That is a very unique interior cabin finish, and it definitely feels much more premium upscale with all the extra stitching here. Same thing with the zero gravity seats. They are power adjustable, they are heated, and then the screens are going to be the same on these top tier trims. The double 12.3-inch display screens. You're not going to get any more crazy advanced driver assistance stuff. It is ProPilot 1.0, so that is all across the lineup there. We've got, heated steering wheel. That's nice. That's your lane centering stuff, and you can pop the trunk there with that button. But largely similar important things, right? It's just a slight change in the trim feeling between the SR and the SL. So why should you care about the new Nissan Sentra? Well, first of all, it should remain quite affordable. The current outgoing generation of the Sentra is priced in the low $20,000 range to the upper 20s. I believe the current outgoing SR trim is around $25,000 starting price, with the S and SV trims even more affordable. With a carryover powertrain, no big changes there. I hope this should stay in a similar price range. Now, as a SL trim here with a bit more of the premium touches, this may start getting into the upper $20,000 range, but the Sentra still remains incredibly affordable in the day and age of now, where brand new cars are transacting for close to $50,000. It's so difficult to find a brand new vehicle for under $30,000. Now, the powertrain doesn't change, which is fine because it's already plenty efficient. MPG ratings for the current generation of the Sentra with that 2-liter inline-4 and the CVT is like 30 city to upper 30s highway MPG. I think some of them can even do 40 MPG highway from the rating with these smaller wheels. So it's still remaining really efficient. You don't need to go plug-in hybrid to get those numbers because that adds complexity, weight, cost. And I really do think some of the tweaks to the styling, the actually full redesign of the fascia, the lighting, the interior upgrades with the big screens and tweaks to the layout and convenience, tech, luxury features are going to keep this thing pretty competitive. They've sold a lot of Nissan Sentras over the years. We see them everywhere because it's an affordable vehicle. And I think that's important because a lot of times we do these backgrounders, I get to drive a car and you look at the MSRP and starting price, you're like, how does somebody afford that? That is incredibly expensive. But the Sentra should still bring you a lot of value, a lot of features, efficiency. That's a quick look at the new 9th generation 2026 Nissan Sentra with the SR SL trim. These are the more blingy ones, right? This is the luxury leaning one. That one is the sporty one. But lots of cool content and updates. Comment below, what do you think about the new Sentra? Thanks for watching.